Hello everybody. Today I'm going to guide you through a game that I played with my friend Stan. I played my mono blank deck and it was a old school 95 no reserved list tournament. So Stan starts with a mountain, I begin with a swamp and pass. Stan goes with a forest and then the rock, Felver Stone. And it's quite a fast start for me with the Knight. This is actually the only 95 card I had in this deck, in that Singleton deck. You can take a look at the deck tech over there. So it's essentially the Pump Knight. And Stan plays one more land. No threats from him yet. I attack for 2 and pump him, attacking for 3, but this doesn't happen because he is dead to this beautiful black bordered lightning bolt. And with that I pass because I don't have any more lands, and Stan is already at 4 mana, but it's only going to get worse for me because then Stan plays the Carplusian Forest, and with 5 mana he's going to fissure my land, leaving me with only one swamp, which is quite a bad place to be. And I don't even have anything to play, so I'm forced to discard my Nightmare. Stan, on the other hand, has one more land, going to tap mana, and to make things worse for me, he's going to regrowth his fissure. So you might imagine what's going to happen next. Not this turn, because currently Stan only has 4 mana, but fortunately for me, I am able to get the second land, but it's not that it's going to save me, because I am simply going to pass. No more Pump Knights. Remember, this is a Singleton format, not even a Black Knight. And with that, Stan is currently at quite a lot of mana, as you can see, so he's going to fissure my land. It's currently at 7 mana. I play the second swamp. Technically 4th, but two of them were destroyed, and there is a tiny bit of mana acceleration for me, which is Soul Ring. So I am untapping, drawing, and let's see if anything is going to happen for me. And yes, this is a card you don't see every day in old school. These are Carrion Ants. They are like Frozen Shade, but 0-1 with a pump for 1 colorless, not 1 black. And I actually like such kinds of things in old school because colored mana does matter. So 3 mana or 4 mana, but with the ability of being pumped for colorless is actually quite a lot of difference. It's quite a good deal. Stan, meanwhile, plays Sylvan Library, making sure that he's able to filter through his cards properly. And he's going to kill the poor ants, which are again only 0-1. So Fireball for 1 was actually enough. And with that, Stan passes to me. So I untap, play 1 more land, 5 mana. That's finally something. And 5 mana, of course, is the sweet spot for Sengir of Empire, as we know. So Stan is going to activate the library. And so far we haven't seen many 95 cards. So you see the forest here, the Carplusian Forest, and you saw the Knight from me. So 95 is a very interesting format because it does add something, but not that much, to be honest with you. But here is the legend himself, Shivan Dragon from Stan, and you can imagine that he's gonna eat my vampire for breakfast, if not for the oubliette. So the oubliette changes everything here. So Dragon is going straight into prison, and we're debating on whether it's possible to use Avoid Fate on that, but to be honest with you, it's not exactly how it works, because oubliette is still an enchantment but not an aura. So in modern magic there were some errata, but still oubliette enters into play. It doesn't attach to a creature, it simply targets it, and now the creature phases out, which is not how this card was played before. But then we just find out how exactly this thing works. And by the way, if you're watching this, you may have noticed that I have reduced the number of jump cuts. So I tried not to edit this stuff, because it is still an enchantment, it is not an aura. It comes into play, it does target the creature, but it doesn't attach to it. And in the errata to Avoid Fate, we can see that it was fixed from interrupts to instants, which is a good bonus to those who are using this card, but still doesn't protect from any kind of enchantment effects that are not auras, strictly speaking. And the dragon is still going to prison, as you can see. And here is the Falconer himself. It's a very obscure card from Legends, like many of these Legends actually. It's 4/4 for 5 mana, and he basically has a soul ring on his neck. He is tapping himself for 2 colorless mana. Not a bad card, by the way, by Legend standards. So I'm going to attack with my Vampire for 4 again in the air. So Vampire, of course, is a great card in terms of value. And then I go with rather devastating turn. So Dark Ritual into Hippie, and then 4 mana for Dancing Scimitar, which is a 1/5 flyer that looks like a wall but is not a wall, interestingly enough. But then actually Stan is showing me the dreaded Circle of Protection Black. And Circle of Protection Black is not something I want to see, because black is so bad in fighting against enchantments. And then Stan is attacking me. I'm blocking with my Dancing Scimitar, kind of suspecting that something might happen, but still wanting to block. And the buff Falconer, who is now 7/7, easily destroys my Dancing Scimitar. However, I'm still untapping with 2 rather powerful flying creatures, and now I have to think of what I should do against Circle of Protection Black. When it comes to Circle of Protection and you don't have the enchantment removal, of course you can say that your days are numbered, but you can be waiting for the removal. So here we have the removal actually. As you can see, it's the disc. But other than that, we're just going to hope that we are going to have more creatures than our opponent has lands or just mana to protect against all the damage that we can deal. And that's again not a good place to be in, not a good position. So the disc, we'll see what the disc can do for me, because I'm not going to be in the best position to blow up the disc, as you can see, since we shouldn't forget about Oubliette, because yes, Oubliette looks like one of those cards that is going to stay here for a long time. And, by the way, as you have noticed, Stan also does have a splash of white in the deck, and this is exactly what helps him to cast that Circle of Protection Black. So currently, since I do have a lot of powerful creatures, Stan didn't attack with the Falconer, and I untapped with the disc. So now it's going to be a very tough puzzle to solve. Trying to see if it's worth it cracking the disc and whether there is anything that can be done against the dragon, because this is actually game 3 that we're playing. I don't have the recordings of the previous games, but this is the deciding one. It was a 1-1 between us previously, so it's quite a long game, as you can see. And Stan has activated his library, and now has got a lot of mana, but I also did manage to stabilize more or less after this mana screw and land destruction, which is even more deadly. And now it's Stan's turn to think as well. So after he passed to me, I'm casting my Trike. Well, Trike is a great card to have in this deck. 4/4. This damage is colorless, which is very important, as you understand. So it is going to get past the circle of protection. And in general, black works quite well with artifact creatures, you know, with the bees, for instance. And in general, it's quite a good choice. So it looks like we have reached some kind of a stalemate. I am attacking with my Trike, and Stan is actually happy to trade his Falconeer for my Trike. Both are 4/4. Of course, I'm not shooting because otherwise I wouldn't have been able to kill the Falconeer. But it's still pointless to attack, as you can see, although I have two very good flyers. And Stan is going to cast the Troll. So the Troll is here. Again, a beautiful backboarded copy over here. And Troll is currently not that fearsome, since he's only 2/2. I do have some guys to try and counteract him, but this is just one more card that cannot be properly destroyed by the disc, as you understand. That's why we have the Troll Disco. So Troll is not only the Sedge Troll, but also the Hoothen Troll as well. So again, as I have told you, it is a Singleton deck, and both of our decks are missing the reserved list cards. And this makes for interesting games, some longer games, and to some people they may seem a bit tiring, a bit excruciating, but I personally like this kind of stuff. Again, restrictions breed creativity, I have said that many times, and I absolutely love deck building for such formats. You do spend some time. I usually use the app called Forge, and in case you're not familiar with it, I'm going to make a video on it soon, just to brew and test some brews. And meanwhile, Stan plays his land tax. So we're currently both mana flooded. Not really mana flooded, but we have developed our board states pretty well, as you can see. And it's not that it's going to solve a lot of problems, but will definitely help Stan to filter through his library, to remove the unnecessary lands, and just in general get some card advantages, you understand. So now there are two very powerful effects, and of course you understand that land tax is a great card to use with Sylvan Library, because this is the so much desired shuffle effects. The shuffle effect that we're actually missing in old school. Not that we're missing it, but it's not so easy to get. So Stan also plays the Birds of Paradise. And Birds of Paradise is just nice blocker here, not really a highly relevant card, but again my biggest problem is Circle of Protection black, and Stan currently doesn't have any powerful beats to be able to attack me, because it's going to be the vampire that's gonna stop him should he decide to attack. So, as you can see, Stan has activated the library. And by the way, if you are still watching this, if you're listening to me, just tell me in the comments whether you're watching this video on 2x speed or 1.5x, because I thought of increasing the speed of the video, you know, just fast forwarding everything, but then I figured out that most people still are able to choose the speed that they want to. I do watch many videos. If we talk about magic videos, for example, on the speed which is higher than 1x, and even the commentary, of course, even with the commentary, I'm definitely able to listen and understand everything clearly. So whether you think it would be a good idea to speed up the video, and I don't know, currently I decided to go like this because I need to find a way that is more or less sustainable for me. So actually Stan decides to burn my face with Incinerate, which is a nice burn spell. It's from Ice Age, and after that I blew up the disc. So the dragon is back, the troll is back, and it's my turn. So again, Incinerate, in case you don't remember this card from Ice Age, is just essentially Lightning Bolt, but for 2 mana. And we are going to see the no regeneration effect there. So that's the difference. And I bring back Nightmare using my Animate Dead. Remember when I discarded Nightmare at the very beginning when I was mana screwed? So here it is. And also there is Royal Assassin. So with just 5 mana, I'm able to get a lot of powerful guys, and also the Pump Knight, Order of the Ebon Hand. So now things have changed quite a lot, and let's see just how many things you can do on one turn after such a stalemate. And both of us have something to do. And however, Stan plays a Stormbind, and Stormbind is a powerful enchantment from Ice Age. And what it does, and it has this effect: discard a card at random, deal 2 damage to any target. And this is very powerful, as you can see. So Stan discards Feethorn Elves, killing my assassin. And it's not just discarding the card, but it's also 2 colorless mana. But still, it's a great way to use the resource, which is otherwise pretty much dead if you're just holding too many lands and such. So in a stalemate this works very well. So I'm attacking with my Nightmare, which is bigger than the dragon. As you can see, we've got 8 swamps, but Stan also pumped his Shivan. So as a result, we traded with these super powerful guys. Both are great cards, both are flying, both are by Melissa Benson. I know that these are the cards that players love to see, really. And now I am going to cast my Black Knight. So I'm left with rather smallish creatures, as you can see. But there is one bigger creature, which is Fallen Angel. Fallen Angel doesn't see much play. It's a 3/3, as you remember, flying for 5 mana, but it can sacrifice creatures, it can feed on creatures, gaining +2/+1, not even +1/+1. So a great card for sure. There is a lot of synergy that can be had with it, and I wish we could see it more often in different games. So Stan is going to tap a lot of mana, and Desert Twister, my fallen angel. So the angel has fallen again, and there is nothing I can do about it. And it's just cool to play Desert Twister when you already have a desert, isn't it? So I'm going to tap this unwieldy pile of swamps and play Darrelore. So Darrelore, as you know, is the Fallen Empires card with a tremendous drawback, saying that black spells are going to cast one more black mana, not even a colorless mana. But since I do already have a ton of mana, it doesn't bother me too much. You know, in Singleton you really have to think what exactly you're going to do. You have to think of which extra cards you're going to put in. But meanwhile, Stan plays a very important creature. It's Goblin Mutant from Ice Age, 5/3 for 4 mana, trample. So there's got to be a drawback, right? And the drawback is essentially the Trained Orc, the coward creature, if you wish, we can call it. Drawback, and if this guy wants to attack this Goblin Mutant, then he has to make sure that there is no creature, no untapped creature with power 3 or greater. And same thing about blocking. So since my Darrelore, who is a 4/4, attacking, Goblin Mutant cannot block him because he's just afraid that there is somebody at least remotely as big as he is. So what Stan is going to do, as we'll see, is that he's going to activate Stormbind, shuffle the cards, show me Void Fate, and blocking with the Troll and regenerating him, dealing 4 damage to my Darrelore. But I also have the Golem, the 4/6 Artifact Golem, as you can see now. So the Troll is still inactive, Troll still cannot do anything, and we're going to see a Trike. So Trike, of course, is a star in Singleton games, as you understand, and we're going to see 3 counters. He can easily shoot up my knights, because they've got 2/2 and 1 knight. But here's the Mishra. So Mishras are of course also restricted. No surprise that we are seeing them in the Singleton game either. And with that, I am passing to Stan. So Stan does have some burn spells, and I technically do have some kill spells from black, but doesn't seem to be enough. And again we have reached some kind of a stalemate where big creatures will decide everything. So you might actually ask me why I'm not attacking with the Golem, and I think I might have forgotten how exactly this Goblin Mutant works, I don't know. But here is Stan showing me 3 cards and discarding them at random and killing my Golem, as you can see. And from here, Stan is going to play wait for it. It's going to be a now actually we're simply debating how things are going to work, and I'm showing my Mishra, and Stan just decided to remove one of the counters to kill my Pump Knight. But yeah, this is actually what I was talking about. So I was asking how exactly that would work, you know, and essentially Stan just got rid of my Mishras, but I did play Maze of Ith, and yeah, basically we traded the Goblin Mutant for Mishra. That's how it worked. And now I am just untapping with the Lonely Knight. Stan has a Stormbind, the Troll, and 3/3 by Skillian. So I played a card that I always forget to include in my decks. Icy Manipulator, even though I do love it, but sometimes there is just some kind of a theme I would like to enforce, and Icy Manipulator looks like one of those cards that would be diluting your deck, unless you are playing something like, let's say, Holding Mine or Black Vise deck, or I don't know, Winter Orb, something that could make things work. And I'm using the Icy, then untapping with it, so that's the beauty of it, that you can actually try and do this stuff for. So I'm counting my mana, which I have a lot of, as you can see. And you know that when a player that plays mono black is counting the mana, it can mean one thing: either that they're bluffing or that they're getting ready for Drain Life, because I certainly do have enough mana for pretty much any spell, so must be next spell. However, Stan decides to get rid of my Black Knight, and also of course deal 2 damage to me to boot, and I'm going to maze one attacker and tap the other with my Icy Manipulator, then passing to Stan. Stan untaps. So it's all pretty close, as you understand, but Stan does have the advantage of Stormbind and better board control currently. So let's see what's possible here. And as you can see, Stan played Jester's Cap. So Jester's Cap is that particular card that Ice Age is so famous for. And it's going to draw his card. Play a land, one more plains. So I'm sorry, it's not a Jester's Cap, that's silly me, of course. It's just Juggernaut, right? Just Juggernaut, because yeah, I kind of look like Jester's Cap at the distance. So yeah, Juggernaut not gonna attack. Maze of Ith. So far it has been, as you can see, pretty close. So let's see if I'm able to pull off the final card that I need, which is Drain Life, so that I'm able to drain life for lethal. And I just passed. I dropped my only card that I have in my hand on the table, so I'm going to do the usual trick. We see 3 attackers, not 1, as you can see, and I'm going to take damage from the smallest one of them, which would be the 2/2 Troll. And then let's see what's going to happen. So I untap, play Urborg, pass. Not much I can do. Getting slowly destroyed. by the troll. Again, using the same trick. And as you can see, Stan actually is holding a pretty impressive number of cards in his hand currently. And since my life total is not high at all, you'll see what's gonna happen next. We're just somewhat debating over what's going to happen, and yeah. As you can see, Stan just lets me untap. I'm not doing anything. So we've got the two guys attacking again. Maze of Faith again. I see Manipulator again. And then I'm again counting how much mana I have sitting on the table. How many swamps there are. And Stan is going to make these artifact crumble and then disintegrate me for lethal. So I had Blood Moon, I had Rod of Ruin coming up, then Demonic, which also could have saved me, but it was still a lot of the turns ahead. So this was my game with Stan. Thank you for watching. There are some more games from the same tournament, and I hope you enjoyed this one. Please let me know what you think of the current format. What should I change? Because again, I'm currently planning to roll out a lot of different gameplay videos. I finally got back to my backlog, so I'm going to see you soon. Bye.